Peace and blessings. First and foremost, I give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. All right, another mysteries of history going into the spread of Islam. Right, I got a presentation prepared. So, starting in Second Ezra chapter 15, right, found in what's known as the Apocrypha. Starting at verse 28, it says, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east." Right, from the east, dealing with east of Israel. Right, what's east of Israel? The land of Persia, right, Babylonia, where this is taking place, right, the setting of this prophecy. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, right? Dragons of Arabia dealing with the Arabians or the Ishmaelites, right? Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them. Right, so we got the Arabians or the Ishmaelites going to battle with the Carmanians. Right, so real quick, let's see who the Carmanians are. The Carmanians, right, or what's known as Carmania, is a region in modern Kerman or Iran. Right, going back here, it says, "Raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars." Right, so we got the Persians raging in wrath going forth as the wild boars against the Arabians, right, against the Ishmaelites. Right, Sharbaraz was a king of the Sasanian Empire, right, the Sasanian Empire being a Persian empire. It says Sharbaraz is actually a title, literally meaning the boar of the empire, as the boar was the animal associated with the Zoroastrian deity, right? Zoroastrianism being the religion of the Persians, right? It says this boar was associated with the Zoroastrian deity Varham or Verith Ragna, the epitome of victory, right? So that's what the boar represents in their culture or in their belief system. Right, in Zoroastrianism, right, the epitome of victory, right. So here is a depiction of Verith Ragna, this deity, and says boar figures are widespread in Sasanian art, appearing in everything from textiles to stucco and in silver ornaments, coins, and seals. Right, we got the sources below, and here is a depiction of this art in some stucco, Sasanian art. So it says, the Carmanians, right, the Persians, raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars, right, something that represents victory in their belief system, right, in Zoroastrianism. Go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come, right? What is this great power that they're coming with against the Arabians? It is war elephants, right? The great power of the Carmanians or war elephants were used in Iranian military history, most notably in the Achaemenid, Seleucid, and Sasanian periods, right? Which is when this prophecy is taking place, is what we're reading about, right? The Sasanian period. The Persian army had a few initial successes. Let me not jump the gun. Let's go back. Right, so we've established who the Carmanians are, right? The Persians. They're going against the Arabians, right? Against the Ishmaelites, as the wild boars with great power, right? With these war elephants. It says, "With great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians." Right, what is this land of the Assyrians, or this portion? It says, Azoristan was the name of the Sasanian province of Assyria and Babylonia from 226 to 637. Right, so this is that portion of the land of the Assyrians. It says between 633 and 638, the region Azoristan was invaded by the Arabs. Right, we're reading about the dragons of the Arabians, or the dragons of Arabia, right? The Ishmaelites, the Arabs. It was invaded by the Arabs during the Muslim conquest of Persia, right, in the 7th century. Together with Mishan, it became the province al-Iraq, right, which is known as Iraq today. The Muslims under, let's see, okay, yeah, right here. I'm going to skip this bullet point and then come back. It says, using tank-like war elephants in battle would waste the land of Assyria and cause destruction. Right, so as they're using these war elephants going into battle, it says they're joining battle with them, waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Verse 31, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand. Right, who are the dragons? Again, the Arabians. It says, then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. right? Real quick, what is their nature? Let's go to the blue letter. All right, so real quick, we dealt with Carmania, right? It's this province of Iran, right? Kerman, but remembering their nature, right? Genesis 16:11, it says, the angel of the Lord said unto her, said unto Haggai, behold, thou art with child, or Hagar, so like, thou art with child and shall bear a son and shall call his name Ishmael, right? This was Abraham's son. It says, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction and he will be a wild man. Who's going to be a wild man? Ishmael will be a wild man. We go into this word for wild, H6501, right? It says a wild ass or the onager, right? When we look into the onager, an Asian wild ass, let's see. Right, it's a very specific species of this Asiatic wild ass. When we look at this article on National Geographic, it says onagers have been around for thousands of years and have always remained wild. Humans have never successfully tamed the animal, right? So again, it calls Ishmael a wild man, right? Wild dealing with an onager, a very specific animal, a very specific wild ass, one that has never been tamed, right? One that's never been subdued, right? It's untamable. Humans have never successfully tamed the animal. The more common farmyard donkey is a descendant of the domesticated wild African ass, whereas the wild Asian ass or onager is an exceptionally fast runner and notoriously unruly, right? This is the nature that they were remembering. Let's go back to this presentation. 1 second. Right, so them remembering their nature, right? That's them being a wild man, right? Then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, right? Persecute the Carmanians or the Persians. So let's go back to this, to the war elephant slide, right? So they were using these war elephants, and it says the Persian army had a few initial successes, right? Like it just said in verse 30 that they were going to come with great power and join battle with them, right? So they had a few initial successes, but what happened? It says war elephants temporarily stopped the Arab army, but when Arab veterans returned from the Syrian fronts where they had been fighting against Byzantine armies, they taught the Arab army how to deal with these beasts, right? And we got, again, the source down here, decline and fall of the Sasanian Empire, right? So this is them turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, right? So they had a few initial successes, the Persian army using these war elephants. And then when these veterans came from the Byzantine Empire, right, they taught them, they conspired together, and then were able to defeat the Persians. Verse 32, it says, then shall these be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and in their hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Right, so it talks about them being fearful, right, being dreadful, right, and fleeing. Going back to the host fleeing, says the Muslims under Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas moved forward, meeting and entirely defeating the Sasanian army at the Battle of Nahawan or Nahavan in 642, which became known as the Victory of Victories. All right, so we go back to the verse we just read and we read it in the GNT, starting at verse 30, right? It says the Carmonians, same as the Carmanians, will come out of the forest in a fierce rage like wild boars, right? We dealt with that. It's something that represents victory in their culture, right? Rage like wild boars, advancing in full strength to attack the dragons, right? Attack the Arabians or the Ishmaelites. With their tusks, right? That's that great power they came with, those war elephants. With their tusks, they will tear up a large part of Assyria, right? Azoristan, this specific region. But the dragons will unite their forces, right? Those veterans came back from the Byzantine front and taught the army how to deal with the war elephants. The dragons will unite their forces, regain their former strength, right? Remembering their nature, them being the wild man, and win the victory. So it's calling this battle the victory, right? This is what we just read about right here. The Battle of Nahawan, which became known as the Victory of Victories. Where we at? Back here. Former strength, win the victory. They will turn and pursue the wild boars. The wild boars will be ambushed in Assyria, and one of them will be killed. This will bring fear and panic to their army and indecision to their kings, right? Saying the same thing in the KJV, right? Them fleeing and their host being fear and dread, right? It says, the subsequent conquest of the Iranian plateau, moreover, was ultimately successful because powerful Parthian dynastic families abandoned the last Sasanian king. Yazgur III withdrew their support from the Sasanian kingship and made peace with the Arab armies. Right, that is them being fearful, them fleeing, them panicking, right, having indecision to where they go and make peace now with this army that was coming against them. Right, and this is all the spread of Islam that was prophesied in the Bible, right, and specifically this battle, right, the Battle of Nahavan, which entirely defeated the Sasanian army. Right, so Lord willing, that was edifying. Again, I give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High God Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.